I'm Alec Cave, welcome to the Home Report. The Office of National Statistics have just released the net migration figures for 2022, in which we find out that the Tory government has hit yet another record high for the amount of people they have let into our country. Successive Tory Prime Ministers have promised to reduce net migration. David Cameron promised that, quote, net migration to this country will be in the order of tens of thousands each year, unquote. Although during his time in power, net migration was almost 3 times higher than what had been promised. His successor, Theresa May, echoed the same promise, yet failed this Tory pledge yet again. Boris Johnson gave a manifesto promise to bring net migration down. Despite the hysteria of the COVID-19 pandemic and the British state curtailing our movement via lockdowns, 2020 only saw a small dip in immigration. Astonishingly, numbers shot up in 2021, and we have been reaching record highs ever since. The incumbent Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, has stated that immigration levels are too high and that he wants to bring them down, but his words do not match his government's actions. After the Brexit referendum, Britain has seen more EU citizens emigrate than immigrate into the country. The overwhelming majority of legal immigration into Britain now comes from outside of Europe, who have been granted work and study visas, with the largest influx of migrants coming from nations such as India, Nigeria and Zimbabwe. This includes a record amount of dependency visas, meaning that if a person from abroad comes to work in Britain, their family is eligible to come with them. In terms of student visas, students are allowed to work for 2 years after they have completed their course. They too are eligible to bring their families into the country. Total immigration figures for 2022 reached a whopping 1.2 million, the first time immigration has surpassed 1 million in the country's history. Out of that figure, 925,000 were non-EU nationals, followed by 151,000 EU nationals, and the rest held British citizenship. The net migration figure for the year came to 606,000. In addition to this, we have no idea how many undocumented migrants have invaded our shores, with some estimates reaching as high as 80,000 for the year of 2022. The sudden increase in the population has put pressure on housing, healthcare and other public services, the vast majority of which have already been disintegrating for well over a decade. Our green spaces are disappearing, our taxes are being used to accommodate illegal migrants in luxury hotels. We struggle to book appointments with our GP. Our sick and elderly are placed on ever-extending waiting lists, and our young are anxious about their future prospects as it is increasingly becoming impossible for them to own their own home. Homeland Party seek a fundamental change to our country's governance with a complete halt to immigration. This is the only way to ensure the well-being and longevity of the British people and our way of life.